back with us again, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. Ken, it's great to have you back on. What was your reaction when you heard that report?
You know, it actually excites me because I think it's true that during COVID, parents were able to see what was going on in schools, the teaching of the critical race theory, sex education run awry, and some of the library books that are in our schools. I think that parents are stepping in where they need to, and I think this is a good sign for education in our country if parents are more involved.
You know, it's interesting. That is the irony, right? The Democrat-led pandemic shutdowns and school closures gave a wake-up call to parents because for the first time, they got a first-hand look at what their children were learning through the virtual classroom over Zoom. The parents didn't like what they saw, and now they're mobilizing, and parents are running for school boards and winning.
Yeah, I've seen it in Texas. Of course, we saw it in Virginia with the governor's race. The education became a key issue. I think it's going to be a key issue in November. And I've seen it in school board races across my state. I just got done with the primary, and so many people were running, so many parents that had never been involved in politics, had never been involved in their, really significantly involved in their children's education, are now getting engaged. And I think it's the best thing, one of the best movements going on in America.
What are you seeing happening inside schools and what children are being taught?
You know what? I've seen it because I've had to deal with it because I've had to try to stop some of it. I've seen schools violate state law by trying to teach critical race theory, which in Texas is not allowed according to the state legislature. I've seen them try to teach things as it relates to sex education that are way outside the bounds. And we've had to threaten to sue, or at least we've tried to make parents aware so that they can step in and fight these school boards and these superintendents that have gone awry.
You know, it's really interesting, the parental revolt of last year. Democrat Terry McAuliffe lost Virginia's gubernatorial election. He said, I don't think parents should be telling schools what they should teach. And then Glenn Youngkin beat him to win the governor's office in Virginia. So when you see people from North Korea, when you see people from China, when you see people from dictatorships in our nation saying, wait a second, our children were indoctrinated. They were told not to think out of the box or have their own way of thinking. They were being told to think a certain way. Those individuals are saying, we don't like seeing what's happening in the United States.
No, and they're right. I mean, this is exactly the wrong direction. We need to have an education that parents are very involved in, that they are approving what's being taught to their children. And this idea that Terry McAuliffe said that parents need to stay out of their children's education is got to be the most ludicrous thing I've ever heard a politician say. And the reality is, I think parents, I honestly have never seen parents more involved. And the last thing I'd want to do is step in the way of parents that are caring about their children.
And Ken, you know, what's interesting, you see these aggressive agendas in the colleges and universities trickling down into elementary schools, right? And so there's a lot of talk about racialism in the schools. That's teaching children to pit each other or pit one another against each other based on the color of their skin, which is exactly what Martin Luther King said you should not do, right? So yeah. Parents are saying, we're looking at our kids' school iPads. We don't like what we're seeing. Your word on this.
No, I'd say, look, I grew up at a very integrated school. To me, it was not about race. It was about how people acted, what their character was like. And I think that's the direction that I think most Americans would want their children to go and to learn about, as opposed to this idea that whatever your skin color is some indication of what kind of person you are. It's just not the way our country was founded. I don't think it's what Martin Luther King taught.
The final word, the Biden-White House did try to get the DOJ to go after school board parents as domestic terrorists when they spoke out. Your final word.
Yeah, that was one of the most insidious things I've ever seen. It felt like, you know, Nazi Germany. And this idea that parents are going to be investigated and threatened because they're speaking out at school board meetings, violation of the First Amendment, and clearly something that is unacceptable in American life and with our Constitution.
Ken Paxton, thanks for sticking around. It's good to see you. Come back soon.